Okay, so you can't mention CHCH programming throughout the years without mentioning Red Green.
We had it for Steve Smith and his wife Morag Smith created a number of shows over the years with Smith & Smith. Matt Ingram had a chance to sit down with Steve and they reminisced about that iconic show with the duct tape.
Channel 11. Steve, let's start near the beginning. Your association with CHCH started with Smith & Smith. That was your show. Tell me a little bit about that show.
Well, I guess it was like the Canadian Sonny and Cher, you know, and what had happened was my wife and I had been an opening act for Al Martino, an old Italian crooner at Hamilton Place here, and we did a Canadian tour with him, and when we got back, my wife decided we should have a television show. So she got a meeting with Frank DeNardis, who was the general manager at CH, and he'd been at the Al Martino thing. Oh. And he enjoyed our performance, and he said, somebody's going to put you on television, it might as well be us, and away we went. So.
What was it like working with your wife so closely on that show?
Well, I say it's like dog years. Every year you're married, every year that you're married and you're working with your wife is like 7 years. So we survived it. She kind of left the creative side to me, and she looked after more how the show looked and what I wore and stuff like that. So it worked out.
That's good. And then after that, you went on to do Me and Max with your kids, correct?
Yeah. My wife was the driving force behind a lot of these changes. She really felt that we needed to do something more of a sitcom style. Sketch comedy was not really that popular at the time, so, and yet we didn't have any budget to do anything big, so we just invoked the child labor laws and got our kids to, and everybody played multiple roles, and we did that for a year and thought that's not fair to our kids, so we moved on.
So the show was only on for a year?
Yeah.
And then what did you move on to after that?
Well, at that point, Telefilm, was up and running, and that was a funding organization, and they called me and said, you're the kind of people that we should be supporting. So they wanted me to create, but one of the rules was you can't do anything like what you've done before. So whatever you're good at, you're not allowed to do that. Try something else and we'll give you lots of money.
And that led to Red Green?
No, that led to Comedy Mill.
Ah, okay.
And Comedy Mill was a much higher budget, like 10 times the budget of anything we'd done before. And 10 times the scrutiny and 10 times the hassle and 10 times the headache. And so when that was over, I wanted to do something really simple, and that's where the Red Green concept came from.
And this actually was the Gemini from that show, I believe.
From Comedy Mill, yeah.
From Comedy Mill, yeah.
I donated that to the station because we'd been partners all those years, and I felt they deserved the same recognition I got.
How do you feel being back here and looking at it?
I'd forgotten. It's great. I'm not good at looking backwards. I'm always, life to me is like chains, links on a chain. So I'm on to the next one. I don't look back 5, 6, 10 years. So it's all, I got pleasant memories, but I don't live back there. I'm a little bit into tomorrow even.
All right. Well, hey, we got to get to Red Green.
Yeah.
That's the iconic show. I mentioned to you, I used to watch it as a kid all the time with my brother. Great show. How did you come up with that idea, and where did all that come from?
Red Green character started on Smith & Smith in 1978, and I was making fun of Red Fisher, which was like a straight-out fishing show, and he had the attitude that nothing would bore you, and I thought that was fascinating. He was going to fill a half hour. It was your job to make it interesting, and that's where I went with Red Green. And then we thought, well, let's just expand that into a whole show. I was comfortable. We already had some positive reaction to the character, and I remember going into the station and saying, I need you to give me enough money that I can do something, but not enough that you care what it is. And that was the Red Green show, and we did everything, small crew, and away we went, and we had fun. I think when you watch the show, you can tell that we're having a good time doing it.
It always seemed like you guys were laughing. You were in on the joke, but you were making the joke at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So it filmed at the CHCH Jackson Studios?
Yeah, that's where we started, and of course a lot of location work, but all of it in the Hamilton area. And then in our third season, we moved it to London, and then to global, and we kept the CH crew everywhere we went. We kept our same guys, you know. Even when we went to CBC, a lot of the crew was from CH, and including our locations, that was 100% CHCH guys. So
it resonates with people to this day. What do you think it was about Red Green that made it so special?
It seems that people have somebody in their family that it reminds them of, you know, maybe an uncle or a grandfather. I say to people, if you don't have a Red Green in your family, it's probably you, you know. So people do relate to that. And I think these days, you're almost sitting on the edge of your seat when you're watching some of these shows because you don't know what they're going to say. Is that going to be appropriate?
Right.
You know? People say to me, "This is the show I watched, you know, with my dad," kind of deal. The whole family would watch together because they knew it was kind of a safe environment, you know.
You speak of lines. There's one line from that show that obviously stands out. If the women can't find you handsome, they might as well find you handy.
They should at least find you handy.
Tell me about that. How'd you come up with that? And even that line still resonates to this day.
Yeah, well, we wanted to do something handyman-ish, you know, so we had this handyman corner thing, and that just, Rick Green, oddly enough, was my writing partner. So between the two of us, all we ever tried to do was make each other laugh. We weren't thinking about an audience, you know, we just, and that's what that line came out of that handyman environment. As did I'm Pulling For You, We're All in This Together. That was kind of a heart-to-heart middle-aged guy to middle-aged guy, you know, so. It's been a heck of a run, and we ended up on PBS, and I used to go down there and say, PBS is educational TV, and the Red Green Show is recess.
That's good. Any chance of a reboot? I mean, I know it's been a long time, but people still love it.
Well, after I finished the show, which is a long time ago, like I think 18 or 19 years ago, I stopped doing the show, and then I went on tour for a while, wrote some books, and I stopped touring, and then I'm doing the last 4 years, I'm doing a podcast with my son in the Red Green character. And now we're doing an animated version, all brand new material, but an animated version of the show, which will be coming out in the fall. But the show's, we got it hooked up with a company in Kansas who's streaming, and we got our own channel now. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, it won't die.
I don't think you could kill it. Everybody loves it.
No, that would be nice.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you, Matt.
Channel 11.